Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing, and we are at the wonderful Watkins Glen boot setup, this time in the GT4 BMW M4 GT4, that is, using the fixed setup for another track guide. If you're new to my channel, what we do is a hot lap and then a breakdown, and we're back in the cockpit one final time with the driving line on. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Everything is default, including the brake bias. Alright, let's start. Right, let's start the hot lap. Smashing it down the main straight. Just after the 300, we are going to brake up to about 80-90%, trail it off, leave it in fourth gear, just clipping the exit nice and wide, keeping the right-hand tyres on the rumble strip. We're going to be absolutely flat now through 2, 3, and 4. So as we come up to the bus stop, we're going to be braking for the first two apexes, then dropping it down to fourth and getting back on the gas for the second two. So we brake, still on the brakes. Now we get onto the gas in fourth gear, quickly up to fifth. We're going to do a big lift here, drop it down to fourth, and now slowly back on the gas. Exit nice and wide, back over to the right side just before the storm drain. We're going to brake quite hard, up to about 80%, trail it off, down to fourth gear, sorry. Exit nice and wide, back over to the left-hand side. And it's just after the 200, going to brake hard again, trail it off, down to third gear, smoothly feeding the power back on. Right, just after the 200, we're going to brake up to, again, about 90%, down to third gear, back on the gas. We can exit wide here. Going to brake this one just before the crest of the hill, again double downshift down to third, smoothly back on with the gas. If you go too early, it's very easy to lose it here. Just going to do a light dab on the brake here through 10, leave it in fifth gear, back on the gas, cut in the corner a bit, back over to the left hand side, the end of the tyre wall. Going to brake up to about 60%, and again dropping it down to fourth. Don't hit the wall on exit. And over and across the line in a 1:53.059. Right, let's do the breakdown. Right, breakdown. So our first braking marker is the 300 just coming up to us now. So when we get there, we're going to brake up to about 90%, wipe all that speed off in a straight line, trail it off down to the apex. We're still trailing off. We dropped it down to fourth. As we get to the apex, we're up to about 80% power. As soon as we unwind the wheel, we're back up to 100. We've got to keep our right-hand tyres on the rumble strip. Then we're just flat. For the bus stop chicane, it's at the 300 that we're going to brake, and we brake up to about 60%. We trail it off down to the first apex. Then I just braked a tiny bit harder for the second apex. We're still not touching the gas here. Now we drop it down to fourth as we settle down from the second apex. Start building back up on the gas. We really want to cut these corners. We're back on 100% before we hit the fourth apex. And we're in fifth gear. And now basically as we get to this little change in track here, we're going to start our lift. We drop it down to sort of 20%, then down to 0. We change into fourth gear, as you can see, and then immediately start slowly building back up. As soon as you see the marshal's hove into view on your right-hand side, that's when I can go up to 100%. And no, I'm going to use this camber and make the corner. The next braking marker is this sort of dark green patch coming up here, which is just before the storm drain on the right-hand side. Brake up to about 80%, drop it down to fourth, and then it's a long trail off here. I drop it down to third. No, I leave it in fourth. Sorry, I had been doing third, but fourth actually was quicker. Back on 100%, sort of halfway through. Next braking marker is the 200. We go through that. Again, we brake up to about 80%, drop it down to fourth. We're still trailing off, dropping it down to third, and then immediately feeding the power back on. And once the corner opens a little bit, that's when you can finally get up to 100%. Right, as we come up to turn 8, again, we're looking at the 200 marker. We hit the 200 marker, we brake up to about 85, 90%, and again, we're going to trail it off, double downshift down to third gear, and once we get to the apex, we start building back up on the power. I go up to 100% once I actually unwind the wheel, but I was up at 90% at the apex. Next braking marker, just before we get to this little crest here, and we brake again up to about 70%, trail it off, double shift down to third, and then we start building back up on the power, but we can't just flatten our foot because it is quite a slippy corner. We have to wait until we're almost straight to do that. So we're going to do a little just dab on the brakes at the 200 here. Tiny dab on the brakes, leaving it in fifth gear, and again, we're just building back up. We want to make sure our left-hand tires are hitting that curb. Back over to left-hand side, and then it's the tyre wall on the left-hand side that we're going to brake here, and we brake up to about 60%, drop it down to fourth, and now we're back on the gas, and we're at 100% the apex. And that is the breakdown. We have one final version coming up now with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.